Ready Check Radio.
Stand by as we get ready to serve up all your news this week in the world of gaming. Welcome to Gaming Gumbo. What's up, Internet? It's Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. That means here on Ready Check Radio, it's time for Gaming Gumbo, your weekly gaming wrap-up. And we've got a lot of fun stuff to talk about today. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magic Man, as always. And this is episode Buck 38. Thanks so much for sticking with us this long. It makes us happy. We got a couple of weeks before the holidays, and we could take a break for 2 or 3 weeks, something like that, whatever it is. And so enjoy the shows. Whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Audible, or Spotify, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Give it a like, a subscribe, thumbs up, all that fun stuff. And if you have a chance, head on over to ReadyCheckRadio.com. Check out the backlog and all the socials so that you can join us live and chime in with your opinions as we go. Joining me today to go over all kinds of fun stuff, Mr. Dom Greco. What's up, sir?
Hello. How's it going?
You're still outside GameStop. Are you waiting to get in still?
I'm waiting for them to give me the all the merch that they bought that they don't want. I'm waiting for the dumpster.
All the sweet merch. Sweet merch. Also on the line, resident artist of Ready Check Radio, Yod. What's up, sir?
Oh, the usual stuff.
How was your Thanksgiving? You had that episode off, but then you were off the following week. You had a nice little break.
Yeah, I was in Chicago and Michigan and stuff for a little while. Almost didn't make it back on Sunday with the delays and stuff, a snowstorm up there. But we ended up making it back. So
I see that.
Yes.
It's very good to see you there. Well, I mean, you're just in time to cover a bunch of weird news. And I want to start with one that's kind of ancillary when it comes to gaming, but was some pretty big news that people woke up to this week. And that is the massive deal that it will end up being if it goes through.
It's still kind of fluid, isn't it?
We're going to get to that because it depends on who you talk to.
Right.
On whether this is fluid or not. So earlier this week, it was announced that, or late next week, whatever it was 3 or 4 days ago, Netflix announced that it was purchasing Warner Brothers. Now, it wasn't in whole, right? Warner Brothers has kind of been shopping around right now for all of its different intellectual properties and TV stations and all that, trying to find a buyer for a while now. And Paramount's kind of interested, and Netflix was kind of interested, and a few other conglomerates were kind of interested in. Well, earlier, 5 days ago, it was announced that Netflix was going to be acquiring Warner Brothers in a deal worth $82.7 billion. But they weren't buying all of it. There were a few pieces that were going to spin off into another company and then be sold from there, namely their television channels, CNN, things like that. But what Netflix was purchasing was the big things they wanted, right? HBO Max, all the different streaming stuff to add to their catalog. And why am I bringing that here? Because it also included the sale of Warner Brothers games. Now, Netflix has wanted to get into gaming for a while and has done like the mini and the mobile stuff. And suffice it to say, Dom, that hasn't been going all that well. Now, there's a few things here. By the way, the games division was like just barely mentioned in like the press package. And I could see why, right? Netflix is like, hey, we're getting HBO Max and this and this and this. And we own this IP and this IP and this IP. But just to give you an idea of the companies we're talking about under the Warner Brothers Games label, you got NetherRealm Studios, Mortal Kombat, Avalanche, Hogwarts Legacy, Rocksteady, mainly the Arkham series, including the Suicide Squad game. TT Games, those are they're usually behind the Lego games and Lego Batman and Star Wars. And then there's a couple
the Lego
different
games.
internal Warner Brothers game studios. The one you probably heard of the most was Montreal, who did Batman Arkham Origins and Gotham Knights. So pretty substantial across this front. Now, even if, and Yod, to your point about being fluid, even if that was the news, this would not take a short period of time to complete. This type of buyout is going to take a year and a half. It's going to have its own set of challenges from regulators around the world. In the United States, maybe not so much because there's, just totally brazenly open relationships between CEOs and the president of the United States.
Right.
But I would expect this to be at least have a pretty big challenge over in Europe to overcome that. You are talking about, depending on the metrics you're looking at, the number 1 and the number 3 streaming services merging. Netflix, of course, is going to try to make the argument that they aren't the number 1 entertainment source. That's YouTube.
Right.
They're going to look at different metrics to try and satisfy the regulatory bodies. And then
on top of that,
who knows?
I think
in the
Warner
United
Bros.
States.
Discovery wanted to break up into different parts anyways because they came to the conclusion they were too unwieldy as they are.
Yep.
I think a while back.
But
I might have heard that.
if you wanted more fluidity to the situation, Paramount, Dom, who actually wanted to get a bid in there and did get a bid in there, was apparently just as surprised as you were by the announcement the morning the announcement broke, because they thought they were still in the mix. They thought they had a better offer than Netflix offered to shareholders of Warner Brothers. And while this was like a $83 billion deal, it was only going to be like in the $23, $24 per share range for shares. But Paramount said, hey, our deal is actually worth like $30 per share in cash, valuing the company at $108 billion, including debt. And that, hey, this little like discovery board that decided, that took the bids, probably should have given our bid to the entire board. And now they're like kind of coming in with a hostile angle to try and force their bid, which, by the way, it should be noted, there are people on the side of Paramount that also have relationships with the president of the United States. Oh, including one Mr. Jared Kushner, who is the son-in-law of the president and who is involved with Affinity Partners, the private equity firm that is on Paramount's side of this thing. So, yeah. And, of course, our president is chiming in on this already about just putting his finger right in it. The thing the president shouldn't be doing. Right, any president, I don't care, right or left, like, doesn't matter. Doesn't Trump, this person, that doesn't matter. The president, generic the president, should not be putting their thumbprints in any of this stuff, much less to the degree that they will likely be involved by the time it is all said and done. That's the preamble, Dom. What do you think, man?
So I'm on a bit of a roller coaster. Like when I first heard this, one of the first names that I heard thrown around was Disney, right? And then you start, even before they said anything, you start thinking of what the ramifications of Disney owning that would be.
Yeah.
They would own Marvel and DC, right? Take the monopoly aside of what that creates. The potential content of seeing, Marvel versus DC becomes a reality in that sense. So, like, the initial prospect of that was a little exciting, but then Disney shot it down, like, immediately, and they were like, we're just not interested. So I was like, all right, I wonder who's going to pick it up now, So, like, Netflix wasn't even on my radar. I know Netflix is huge, like, don't get me wrong, but I still see Netflix as, like, Blockbuster Video. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not what I would think of when I think of making.
You're making the same mistake. Literally, deal. Blockbuster Video, man.
Exactly. Oh, I know. Well, yeah. Well, Redbox was what actually did them in, and then Netflix came in and did Redbox in. So, but yeah. It was just
And that says
yeah,
nothing of the Harry Potter licenses, right? Like rights are a
Mhm.
little divvied up. Like Rowling still owns the books and the print works,
Right,
but
right.
Warner Brothers does hold the TV stuff, the film stuff, the franchise rights for theme parks and games. So yeah, I mean, if you could have imagined seeing that franchise tucked under Disney too, they'd have Star Wars
It would
and
have
Harry
been
Potter, and
it would have been insane. You know, like at
Mhm.
that point, what happens with Universal, right?
yeah,
Because then you know,
Exactly.
like I know that they probably have a contract that exists, so they would have to honor that and keep that for the duration of their contract. But then it, you know, what happens after? Like they'd have to cut a deal. I don't know. We don't have to worry about it because it's not happening. But
yep.
that was like the mental roller coaster I was in at the start of like when this was announced, and it was just wild. So now hearing Netflix and Paramount and all that, I'm actually kind of shocked that Paramount's bid wasn't considered more. Um, it,
Yeah.
I mean, they're trying to make it considered more.
Yeah, I mean, they're literally. I'm not just facetiously using the word hostile. That is what they're attempting to do.
They're attempting to force it, and like you mentioned Marvel and DC under the same umbrella. It was kind of funny because at one point in time, I can't remember which one, but one of the companies actually bailed out the other, so it owned controlling shares in the other comic company.
Yeah.
I want to say it was DC bailing out Marvel at the time. So
that
like
makes
DC
sense.
actually owned Marvel, but then the whole Disney thing came in and they separated again. But as besides the point, yeah. I don't think. I mean, out of all of it, I want to say if Netflix ends up finally buying the pieces out and the other parts get parted out to their own companies or whatever, would probably be the best case scenario. Overall, it's all bad to me because like it doesn't sound like a good idea to roll HBO into Netflix to have that kind of conglomerate going on. But it's better to me. It's better than Paramount because Paramount just got bought out by Skydance, and like you said,
and has already
the
capitulated in
company,
multiple ways to the president of the United States.
Right. But like you said, the Affinity Corporation is backed Paramount, and I mean, as it is, I'm not buying any EA stuff since that got sold to it. I'm hoping BioWare gets spun off so I can buy Mass Effect again.
Yeah,
But
and
what
you don't usually see hostile bids like this, by the way. Most of
Yeah,
these companies kind of work it out amongst the billionaires behind closed doors and figure it out.
Yeah.
We did see one like 20-some years ago, right, when the CEO of Comcast at the time tried to actually take over Disney.
Right.
You'd be forgiven if you did not remember that. I was reminded by it of the New York Times. So now that ultimately fell through. The shareholders didn't go that way, so it was unsuccessful. And it should be noted that there are some substantial pieces of money laying on the table for these types of things. If the deal itself between Netflix and Warner Brothers fell through because they could not get regulatory approval, Netflix has to give a little $5.8 billion kickback to Warner Brothers. So there's a little chump change on the table.
Right.
If for some reason the Warner Brothers team went with the Paramount deal or some other deal, then they would owe Netflix a $2.8 billion contract, break fee. So, yeah, a little bit of chump change on the table. Bringing it to gaming, though, what the hell? Like, is this... I feel like, Dom, I definitely don't want Paramount involved in video games. But I don't think I want Netflix involved in them either. When they've done things on their own, they were always very small, things that you could play over the streaming service, usually on a television, just from there, some mobile stuff going on as well.
Right.
We haven't really seen Netflix get into like a foray or dive into something like the AAA game industry or anything. But now this would certainly give them studios to take a stab at it. And I was a big fan of Amazon games becoming a thing. Somebody with a lot of money that could maybe push the envelope and take some risks and try some things. And that they didn't. Like, that was the last thing they wanted to do. And I got to wonder if Netflix is kind of in that same boat. Just because we have the money to push an industry forward into new places doesn't mean that that's actually what we want to do with it.
I think if they acquire these companies intact, like, if they're taking the Arkham team, like the whole team and everything, and they're being like, hey, we want to make a game. Let's just say, I know it's not the same genre. I'm just using it as an example. Say they wanted to build a Squid Games, game off of it. They're not doing it themselves from scratch. Like, yes, it's their company, but they're going through an established gaming company that's had experience making games before. So it would be a little bit of a different endeavor. So I'm on board with it. I just don't feel like if Paramount had it, that they would have the same vision for what to do with it. So I would much rather have Netflix in charge of their gaming division.
Yeah, but it sounds like even that's you're picking the least of the evils, right?
That's pretty much what it comes down to, I think, in this case. Yeah, like Dom said, I'm pretty sure Paramount would go in and screw everything up, and like it would, especially if Affinity is a part of it, they'll start parting the company out into chunks and selling off to the lowest bidder or whatever. And with Netflix, if they are trying to dive into games, they may, considering what they've done with other IPs, just go in and say, okay, we have you as a gaming company. Here's the IP. Go do a game. And just let the company do what the company does, which would be the best case scenario. Of course, we're not in that timeline, so horrible things are going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to look at this and just go, okay, how many different ways is the consumer going to be screwed here? Because it's just the world we live in now, Right. And that's not to say, every generation does that, right? When I think back, the politicians weren't as bad back then. The companies weren't yeah, they were. You just didn't know about it as much.
They just knew how to hide it.
There wasn't Twitter to immediately broadcast how terrible somebody was. But we're living in kind of a terrible time to be a consumer. And we're going to talk about another topic in just a minute that just piles right on to that idea.
Oh, my God.
I don't like any of these massive companies just becoming bigger. And less ownership across the board. And Netflix is very much on that. We don't really want to do anything with physical media, right?
Right. Because,
whether it be a game or a movie or a TV show.
Yeah, it is the same company that's not letting you share your password anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a reminder.
Exactly. These companies
have enough money to buy Warner Brothers.
They don't
have enough money to buy Warner Brothers, but you can't share your password. Yeah.
You're not getting a deal on Netflix and HBO Max because you currently have both, and then potentially they are both owned by the same company. You aren't getting a deal. You aren't.
Yeah, no.
You've already proved that you will pay for both of them. Why would they let you stop paying for one or pay a discount for one? It's just not going to happen. Maybe they'll do like the $3 discount bundle. Yeah, you saved yourself $3, which they will immediately raise 6 months later.
Right. Eventually, they're just going to roll it all together and double the price.
Dom, you're laughing.
Am I the
only
one that misses? Am I the only one that misses when there was just Netflix as the streaming platform and we didn't have to pay all?
Am I the only one that misses when you could just buy something and fucking own it? Like,
right?
Even that we don't do anymore, because like if you buy the DVDs, right? Warner Brothers, like how many Warner Brothers DVDs were destroyed just because they were printed incorrectly?
Right.
Yeah, but okay, yeah, that's a little bit of a different beast. But yes, point taken.
Yes.
Point taken.
It's
going to be interesting to watch. We've got about a year and a half of watching how this plays out. If it's got to go to somebody, I guess there could be worse companies out there. Baron Vagamond sending
Disney.
Hey, Netflix will sell it to Microsoft in a heartbeat, talking about the gaming divisions. Yeah, they'll be like, yeah, you can have everything but Harry Potter. There's no way they're letting Harry Potter go. Absolutely not. But we'll have to see what happens.
I think if the gaming division for them doesn't prove to be profitable, they'd probably be up for sharing it or sending it off somewhere. Yeah. But, like, I think they're going to put a genuine effort in, and I would be interested to see what they do with it.
I mean, just the Lego licenses alone on the video games.
Yeah. Well, it'll certainly be interesting. But they got hurdles before they even get there, so we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
Speaking of things we're keeping an eye on, this Thursday, of course, is the Game Awards. We don't obviously have a lot to talk about today on that one, but I'm sure we will be reviewing next Tuesday before we go on our holiday break. In the next episode of Gaming Gumbo, our predictions that we made and all of the things. I will tell you that the statue in the Mojave Desert that we talked about, the internet thinks they have that one decoded as the Divinity Original Sin team filed for a trademark in Europe, and it does have a logo that looks suspiciously similar to the way the statue is designed. So maybe not. We'll see. But moving on to our next topic on why we can't have nice things. Or, I mean, it's getting to the point, Tom, where maybe it's just we can't have things. Whether they're nice or
we're not allowed.
Micron, the company behind the Crucial line of PC RAM, and basically the third largest RAM manufacturer around, something that's already having a shortage and ridiculous price spikes. I don't need to tell you about all of that. You guys know, particularly if you've been looking to build a computer anytime in the last 8 to 10 months. They are leaving the Crucial consumer business. In a statement this week, Micron said, we've made the difficult decision to exit the Crucial consumer business in order to improve supply and support for our larger strategic customers in faster growing segments. That can't be right. They actually said that part out loud.
Yes.
They actually said that part out loud. Sumit Sadana, Chief Business Officer at Micron, specifically says the AI-driven growth in the data center has led to a surge in demand for memory and storage, and therefore, screw the consumer. We're effective like February or March of next year. We're no longer selling RAM to you, the people that have been buying the RAM since we became a thing. We want to serve our AI tech overlords because this is totally not a bubble, won't burst, and we're going to make a ton of money forever and ever and ever.
I was just going to say, sources seem to point to the fact that the AI bubble is getting to a point where it's going to burst soon and hard. So, yeah, I don't think that's a good route for Crucial to take. Could be just my opinion. For all I know, the AI overlords could use that as, the jumping off point to take everything over. But
hey, their shareholders love the idea, by the way. It has helped their stock. I can't imagine why. It's craziness. Short-term capital gains, perfect. Yeah, cash me in. Don, this obviously makes it harder to obtain already challenging / reasonably priced items to get. As far as PC computing, it is speculated by some, and I watched a whole video over at Nexus Gaming, that this is just going to continue, not just in RAM, but in other PC components until we are in a dystopia where we are basically using a computer as a service, where you don't even own the damn hardware that you're putting in your house. Much like, I don't know, your internet router. These days, here in the United States, you used to be able to buy that, and you can certainly buy additional equipment, but no, you got to use our modem, and there's usually a fee for that. Are we headed there? Because this sucks. Like, there is no... I can't believe they said this part out loud, because there is no coming back to a commercial market that will even remotely support you if, by chance, this doesn't pan out for Micron.
I mean, if it does pan out, right, and they make a lot of money, and we're still in,
and they will in the short term, they will.
Right. But if we're still in a RAM drought and they come in as the heroes to save us, like, do we have an option at that point? There's a lot of circumstances that depend there. I'm not saying what they're doing is a good strategy by any chance. Like, I'm not. I'm just saying that there are some possibilities where they could get away with it, and we will welcome them back with open arms, unfortunately. But yeah, maybe we are heading into that direction. We've seen attempts at cloud gaming and stuff. Now, let's just have entire cloud computers at this point. Just put a screen on your wall, and that's your computer. That's just, you don't own a piece of it, and all your data is just living somewhere else.
Shades of Fahrenheit 451, Yod.
Yep. I mean, Yeah, if it goes their way, that's going to be a way dystopian future. Most of the stuff I've read seems to point to the fact that the drought, along with graphics cards and probably processors.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not the shortage and price hikes and everything is not exclusive to
Right.
RAM. It's just being particularly felt in RAM right now.
Right. So the articles that I've read and going down that rabbit hole seems to point to it's gonna last at least until 2027. After that, who knows? So I'm guessing most of these people that are doing the research on this stuff, on what I'm reading, is if these articles are anything to be believed, and these days I don't believe anything. The internet's spouting at me and the algorithms trying to get me to listen to, but if they are to be believed, maybe that's when the AI bubble they think is going to burst in around 2027. And then, there's going to be a lot of server factories and stuff that are parting out their old computers, and you can have really cheap used systems that used to run AI shit. Could be a way to go,
It's just a weird world right now. Just very weird.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, learning to fix computers, older systems might be a way to make some cash for yourself.
Sure, nobody's registered the trademark for Skynet yet.
Right.
Oh no, United Airlines intranet, their internal internet is called Skynet. So yes, somebody has registered a Skynet.
That's not where I would have expected it to come from.
I would not either, but I know someone that used to work at United's and yeah, their intranet is named Skynet.
Let's talk about something else here. Check this out. I don't know. Do you guys remember the Postal series of games? Like, Dom, I feel like that's something you played.
Oh my god.
I don't know.
No? Yod?
No.
So I
No,
remember like the original Postal, which was like in the 90s, right? Like 96 or 7 or 8 or somewhere in there, I feel like. And it was, I remember it being like a story at the time because it was just like stupid violent. It was a shooter video game and it was like off color, totally violent, stuff like that. And then there was like a second one in early 2000s. I guess because I was in college when that one. The first one was high school, second one was college. So, well, kind of an underground. We just made jokes about it all the time, going postal. Well, yeah, that was the whole point. That was the name where they got the name, like going postal. When there was a rash of like USPS mail carriers that like had some violent stuff. That they did in like the 90s, and so like kind of coined the term going postal, like when a post office mail carrier loses it and does something extreme. That's the term. And so yeah, there was a new Postal game that was supposed to come out. And I say supposed to because just a few days after it was announced, the studio's closed. Like
What?
Just like that.
How?
Like that. Okay, so let me take you through this. I'm kind of showing you the trailer, and if you don't know about the story, by watching the trailer here in the B-roll, you might be able to get ahead of me a little bit here. But Postal Bullet Paradise was being developed by Goonsworn Games. Okay, and the series publisher. Running with Scissors. So now you know both names. They drop their announcement trailer. And immediately, the internet starts saying, I'm really happy to see Postal back, but this shit looks AI. This stuff looks like it was generative AI. Now, Running with Scissors initially denied those claims, and co-owner Mike Jarrett Schachter told people on the publisher's Discord that they're ignorant assholes if they believe generative AI was used. And responding to Discord users that continued to claim it was AI, he said, "It's literally not. Sorry, guys, your wet dream is wrong. Dead fucking wrong." A community manager with running with scissors said that Discord member was the R word for believing generative AI was used. Now let's bring in the developer. Okay? Let's just bring in the developer.
No,
that was the publisher.
Oh my god.
The developer, Goonsworn Games, posted what they were saying were work in progress files. Like these were like the PSDs yod with all the overlays. They hadn't been merged down.
Right.
Look, it's work in progress. This is our art. See, here it is before it was all put together and it's still in pieces. And a lot of people say, hey, that's a little weird. It looks like you kind of traced the end result in these files. So Goonswarm said, no generative AI was used for the reveal trailer or for the game. All assets were created by our human artists using standard tools. I'm reading quotes here, by the way. We've already shared layered PSDs, work in progress files, and other materials to confirm this. Any mistakes or rough spots in those files are being misrepresented as proof of AI, but they simply reflect the normal human art creation process. So this
normal human beings don't understand the art process. Do you have any idea how many layers I have in a Photoshop file that looks exactly the fucking same? Sorry.
Havoc says, "Me think the lady protests too much." Yes. Yeah. Okay. So by the way, we're talking about like a matter of a day or two as like all of this is happening. And this isn't like spread out over a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Okay.
Right.
Then we get a new response. While initially defending things, Running with Scissors did come back and post a statement on X, on Twitter, which appeared to kind of backtrack them defending Goonsworn Games, saying that their trust in the studio was broken and that the game had been canceled. After revealing Postal Bullet Paradise, a title Running with Scissors was planning on publishing but not developing, we've been overwhelmed with negative responses from our concerned Postal community. The strong feedback from them is that elements of the game are very likely AI generated and thus has caused extreme damage to our brand and our company's reputation. We've always been and will always be transparent with our community. Our trust in the development team is broken. Therefore, we have killed the project. We have a lot of good things coming, some you know, and some you don't. And then talking about the attack on the community that they had basically unleashed, they said, we'd like to, of course, apologize to anyone who felt insulted in the heat of the moment, and we thank you for raising concerns at the time. As for those who specifically sent us death threats, the apology does not apply. So then Goonsworn Games, Dom, has to come out and say, we're shutting down entirely after Running with Scissors makes that statement. While they did continue to claim that they did not use generative AI for Postal Bullet Paradise, the studio was gone. Our project and everything we built over the past 6 years was canceled in just a few days. Our studio was mistakenly accused of using AI-generated art in our games, and every attempt to clarify our work only escalated the situation. In the last few hours, we've received a large number of threats, insults, and mockery, which pushed us towards a very difficult decision. We're truly sorry for the artists who put their soul into this and supported our studio, only to face false AI accusations. It's tough to pour so much energy into a game and end up caught in the middle of an AI war by accident. We've decided to shut down the studio and end all future activities. Thank you for being with us. Stay strong, play games. The Postal community went postal, Dom. They went postal.
This is probably the most wild story I've heard in a long time. Like, I'm not good enough at spotting if this is generative AI art. It looks like it, but that doesn't mean it is, right?
Right.
So let's just, for a moment, let's just pretend they didn't use it. They basically got cyberbullied.
Yeah, and that's like when I'm reading this, I'm like, that's actually a really dangerous situation.
Yeah,
because these people, I don't know how big the studio is, but they're all out of jobs now.
Mhm.
all of them. Yeah,
And Havoc's saying it in chat. What if they didn't use AI? That sucks if they actually didn't use AI, Yad.
Yeah, it does. Like I said, a normal person isn't going to understand how a PSD actually looks before you combine it and give you the final product. Especially if you are a digital artist that started out before all the online, the Creative Cloud and stuff, and even Creative Suite. Like when I started using Photoshop, it was like Photoshop 3.21 or something, and there was no undos. And I still, my brain is still trained for the fact that if I'm going to try something stupid with that file, I make a copy of that layer and put it away.
Yeah.
And then I make, the duplicate layer I go and do something stupid with. So there's like 4 or 5 layers in that hierarchy that might look exactly the same because I went to do something stupid with it.
Yeah.
And normal people's brains aren't going to understand this.
Yep. First off, by the
But
way,
once again-
I don't care how much AI they used. Can we just continue to say? I feel that we have to say this like every 6 weeks. Death threats and all this that is bullshit.
Right.
Stop
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah, the death threats.
I'm not
and stuff
saying
do not
either of
make
these
any fucking
companies
sense.
had the best reactions either. Like they need to grow the
Right,
fuck
yeah,
up on their
that's it,
initial
yeah.
reactions.
That was going to be my other thing. You don't rage at your fan base.
Yeah, but even if you do, you don't deserve a death threat sent the other way. That's just absurd.
No. Right. It's just a matter of everybody was fucking stupid in this case. And it
Havoc
cost
says
a lot
it's
of people their
horrible
jobs.
if they didn't. Horrible if they
Yeah.
didn't. Can you see, Dom, like other companies that this is a relatively smaller company, right? Like,
right. Yeah. The other thing though here is like it's pixel art, right? And that's really a lot harder to disprove if it's generative AI or not. Like it's pixels. There's not a lot of art style that's other than what it is. Like
right.
there's not a lot of ways to do it. Yeah.
I do like, I will say this, the YouTube comments are always the best, right? On this trailer, the first comment right now is canceled as quickly as it was announced. Another one says, and it's canceled. And then I saw one, I can't find it at the moment now, but I'll paraphrase. It said, I've watched it through. Oh, here it is. I've watched it 3 times and I don't see anything that looks AI. Somebody says the logo and the power-up cards in the trailer, to which my favorite reply is literally the frickin' thumbnail. And so I went and I looked back at the thumbnail and I was like, yeah, I could kind of see that. I could kind of see why you might get that idea.
I just love the pinned comment on that one. That one's my favorite. December 3rd, 2025 to December 4th, 2025.
Yeah.
3 skulls.
Absolutely amazing. Oh, I guess I should mention one more thing. I don't know if you guys knew this part. The following day, after all of this happened,
It just gets better, doesn't
the studio closed and all that, they did post another statement.
Oh God.
Okay. I'm sitting down for this one.
I'm assuming neither one of you dug into the show notes this far to know what I'm about to say. It would have been a big ask for you to get here. They did release another statement conceding that some generative AI was indeed used.
Oh no. And here I was feeling bad for them.
Yeah.
But it was only for promotional art, which it claims according to Video Games Chronicle, was generated by external artists. According to Video Games Chronicles, they posted this statement here, so credit to them. We want to start with a sincere apology to everyone affected by this situation, our community, our partners, and especially the artists who supported us. The last few days have been overwhelming as a small studio suddenly pushed into the spotlight. We reacted emotionally and defensively. The accusations came as a shock, and we needed time to breathe, look at everything calmly, and understand what truly happened. After taking that time and conducting an internal review, we agree with your criticism. The promo art does appear to include or be influenced by AI-generated material. We collaborated with external artists for years and never saw any signs of this. The layered PSDs always looked legitimate within our internal pipeline, which is why our initial reaction was to protect our team and defend our innocence. We understand now that your concerns were valid, and we take responsibility for not catching this earlier. We also want to stress that this issue relates only to the promo art and does not concern the real artists who worked on gameplay visuals, assets, and other content. Many of them have nothing to do with this situation, yet they've been receiving threats, harassment, and hatred. This is deeply unfair, and we hope this message helps protect them. Their work is real, and it deserves respect. We previously announced the closure of the studio, but even in this state, we feel responsible for the outcome. As far as our remaining resources allow, we will replace all disputed promo art across our projects with pieces created entirely by human artists. It will take time, but we will do it. We again apologize to everyone who was harmed or affected by this situation. We never intended to mislead anyone, and our earlier statements reflected what we honestly believed at the moment. And as of right now, the studio is still closed.
How can they replace things if they're closed? If there's no studio, what is there to replace?
Kayla, thanks so much for the first time chat. I'm going to give you the disco lights behind me for that. Chiming in, Kayla says, what a saga. Right?
My God.
Right?
I'm not tall enough to ride this emotional roller coaster.
Havoc replied to Kayla saying, right? There were highs and lows. I'm emotionally exhausted.
Yeah, that's, oh my God.
And Havoc, you are dead right? Like, those are the people that you do feel bad for, Yad. The actual artists who were doing work, who had no clue that this may have leaked into the pipeline, was being fudged into the pipeline by somebody before them. They're just doing their job, and this is what they had to work with, and so they took it from there. They had no clue it ever happened. Now they're out of a job.
Yeah, and I mean, it does come down to the fact that they reacted emotionally, the studio heads and stuff like that, instead of taking a beat like they're supposed to and go, hey, let's look into this. We'll get right back to you. I know, there's social media, Discord and stuff is like bam, 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 bam these days, and you get message after message. But sometimes you gotta step back and say, let me put my old man glasses on and take a look at what's going on. Be right back.
Yeah. Also, like, as soon as you get massively accused of it, like, before I do anything, I would immediately be like, town hall meeting, gang.
Right. Right.
Is anybody aware of any fucking AI that might have leaked in somewhere?
Right.
And let's
like they
shore
handed
this
the
up
keys.
before we... Yeah, exactly.
It's like they handed the keys of their social media over to like Christian Bale or Mel Gibson or something. It's just like fly off at the handle.
Yeah, these people
well,
should
yeah,
not
that
be-
too. When
have access
that
to
too,
this.
when River, yeah, maybe never call somebody the R word ever. Yeah, like no doubt.
Right.
Yeah, and even if you do that, you still don't deserve death threats. Like everybody's, there's no winner here. Like everybody lost. The studio closed. The publisher is now out of project, and presumably any money that they have sunk into it so far, because they're not going to recoup that. The consumers that wanted the Postal game lost.
They're all going Postal.
Yeah, everybody lost face in this, particularly the publisher and the developer, for public-facing comments, and then having to come back and say, "Oops." Like, oh my God, like there were no winners here except maybe this show today for being able to.
I don't even know if we won, because like they said on chat, this is a freaking emotional roller coaster.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm ready for
chat
this.
had no clue what they were in store with when they were in store for when they were like, Mike's reading an awful lot. Like,
Yeah.
why is he reading a lot of quotes? Because I knew the end, and I had to set that bad boy up. And I had a feeling the other host didn't know.
Yeah, I only read the notes up to the Twitter statement, and then I was like, all right, that's good enough. And then I went to the next article to like, you know, get prepared.
Nope.
So yeah, that caught me off guard.
Yep.
Usually
I
that kind of stuff is at the beginning of the article.
Nope.
You know, like they built this article like
It really
like
did.
a story.
Yeah, Video Games Chronicle did a great job with the article. I mean, to be fair, the article's super long, but literally I read most of it to you because it was just like blap, 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 just inserting quotes from all of these public statements. So yeah.
Oh my god.
And yeah, they tarnished the Postal IP, which I guess if like you were one of the Christian right in the 90s that was violently protesting that game, I guess you finally got your comeuppance. 28 years later, you got it. You did it. Great job. Great job. All right. Hey, do you guys want to see a couple of the things that GameStop got traded in for the whole
I'm still waiting outside to find out.
So let's show some of it. They tweeted a bunch of them over the whatever, I don't know, the last couple of days. And we were going to talk about other top 5 games of the year lists from other sites, but we're running out of time today, so we'll skip that. So they got, take a look at this fine, I guess it's Fallout inspired kit, some Campbell's soup cans with a lovely helmet and a gas mask. Yeah, exactly. Campbell's soup. They took it. Everything that you're seeing here, everything that you are seeing here, by the way, is, oh my gosh, I'm screwing up, is, I have these showing in the background and I don't want that. There we go. Everything you're seeing here is a photo taken from the counter behind the desk, so it has already been accepted as a trade-in, and is GameStop tweeted. So they tweeted these out as some of the things that they accepted. And then what do we got here? This is the Netflix instant streaming disc for the Nintendo Wii.
Oh my god.
I love how they have it priced at $10,000.
Yeah, it's a nice price there.
Did either of you go to your GameStop? Like, I was really tempted to just go and watch for a little while.
I was tuning in. I was on the Ready Check Radio channel looking for the live stream. No, I unfortunately I was busy that weekend, so I didn't have a chance.
So none of us traded anything.
Chicago. I was in Chicago.
Here's a 20-mile-per-hour speed limit sign, which isn't a real like government or state created sign, because I think a lot of those say that it's a felony or a crime to remove them from the polls, and this one does not say that. So I'm assuming this is like a custom print.
It's probably like from Spencer's or something.
Yeah. And there's not too many speed limit 20s around, right? It's 15 in school zones and 25.
In like, elderly neighborhoods, you sometimes get.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. How about this? They said that they did get a bunch of properly taxidermied animals, because you weren't allowed. Somebody jokingly took his dog in, and they obviously declined that. But this is, I guess this is taxidermied, but it is not. It is not in great shape. It is not in great shape.
It looks like one of the ones that they sell at like FAO Schwartz for like 10 grand.
Yeah. So here's the thing, too. We speculated on this show that this was probably not the best idea GameStop executives have ever had, and that we also thought that it seemed like it caught employees by surprise. And so as funny as some of these things are, there were downsides to this event that any reasonable human being could have predicted, Dom. When you challenge consumers to trade anything in, they are going to test those limits. And some of them did it in goofy ways, like we talked about on this show. Broken plastic spoons, a piece of lint for 5 cents, oddball stuff like that. A piece of paper with 6-7 written on it, somebody came up and tried to trade in a printed ticket to Pound Town. Like, okay, all right. Somebody brought in grass from outside, not your weed, grass, like green grass,
actual grass.
Okay, right. But then you have the maniacs that are gonna really take it.
You talk about the Sonic doll.
Employees in some areas say that this was like kind of a traumatic day for them. They weren't really prepared for this. It wasn't thought out. Intimate items were a very common theme.
Mm-hmm. We figured that, even though the disclaimer did say no adult items.
Yeah. Yep. One worker claimed, according to Polygon, that they got in trouble for throwing out a man who was very loudly trying to trade in a dildo in a store full of children. And the employee said, I don't care if I get let go at this point. Others brought in adult printed materials just to see how employees would react to them.
Mm-hmm.
Plushie of Sonic the Hedgehog stuffed with a fleshlight. We'll skip that one.
That's the one I was talking about.
You don't have an image of that one?
We don't need an image of that
I'm
one.
kidding.
You can
I was
use your
kidding.
imagination.
I was kidding.
It literally, in a lot of ways, became how can you mess with the GameStop employees? How can you get a reaction out of them? And yeah.
Those poor employees. They need a raise.
Funny,
At the very least, they need a bonus for working that day.
Yeah, it is so predictable how this would have gone. You were going to have that subset of people that just said, I just want to trade some shit in and get some credit, even if it's just shit laying around the house. You were going to have that subset of people like us. I fully acknowledge that this middle category is us. I wonder if they'd take a paper plate. Son of a bitch, they took a paper plate. I wonder if they'd take my beanie. They took my beanie. Like, the goofies would like, come on, guys. What are you guys doing? How much you going to give me for a paper plate?
I watched somebody on YouTube walk in with a pen from Meineke Muffler, right? And they went in, they gave him $5 store credit.
Hey, it's not bad for a pen from Meineke.
Yeah. That he probably stole off their desk for free.
Right.
And then predictably, you're going to have that third category that's going to take the joke too far. And instead of it becoming a joke, fun event, it is let's go fuck with the employees, and force them to look at pornographic material and see what their reaction is. This is why we can't have nice things. Like,
I would have just taken a selfie with the employee and then went home, printed it out, and came back and sold it to him.
So I will say that there were a couple people like us that very much predicted how this would go.
Mm-hmm.
And so they did do some things like that. Some reaching out. I know this is going to be a very bad day for them. That doesn't even talk about like the material stuff that they had playing through the speakers and stuff that was just special for this day, and it was irritating, and it was alarms and things like even customers wanted it turned off. But things like one customer gifted a box of donuts to the store. One team got a note from somebody that said to the dudes at GameStop, I hope your day has been well. I'm sorry that there are people trying to trade in garbage. That sucks, and I hope no one in this area did that. I also hope you're doing well as people outside of GameStop. Stay sane and happy holidays. So there was some good, but God, let's maybe think this one through next time.
Unfortunately. I think they will, because apparently it was a decent success for the corporate level. So, yeah.
What do you think, Dom? Will they do it again?
Probably. If not, it's a publicity stunt,
Exactly.
I mean, overall, over the course of the last 5 days, their stock price went up 16 cents.
There you go.
Days. If you look at the last month, they're up $1.62. And that was about when we first heard it. And I'm not attributing them being up or down to this event specifically. There's a lot that goes into a stock price. But it should be noted that today that they announced they missed their Q3 sales expectations.
No.
Well, now they got a bunch of shit to sell. Although I should point out that they also had a listing for Resident Evil Requiem that kind of spoiled a shock second character. And a lot of people thought that Leon Kennedy might be making a comeback in Requiem as some type of playable character, whether it's as part of the Requiem story or as a different mode or a second playthrough option. But no, it seems that GameStop accidentally just posted more deluxe edition content for Resident Evil Requiem, which included some spoilers, including Mercenaries mode, Grace having an FBI visor mechanic, and 2 planned story DLCs. But then also that we would be getting the second character, Rose. As in Rosemary Winters, daughter of Ethan Winters from Resident Evil 7 and Village.
Right.
Who, when you play through the DLC, is a teenage girl. Kind of confusing, Dom, since this one kind of is going back to Raccoon City, right? Like, that's the whole big deal with this one. And Rosemary, yeah, okay.
Seems like it's not, back to Raccoon City of the past. It's Raccoon City present day. So,
hey.
Could be interesting. Could be.
It's not a giant hole in the ground by now.
Boom. Last 2 bits. I just wanted your takes on this one. I know none of us are like super fighting game people, but Katsuhiro Harada is leaving Bandai Namco at the end of this year. He's been behind the Tekken franchise for like 3 decades, for like 30 years. It says, hey, I've been slowly transitioning all this stuff off to the team, but that is a name that every Tekken player knows, and kind of interesting to see what happens with the franchise from here. Yeah, you would think it would be okay, right, Yod? Like, it hasn't just been him for 30 years at this point.
Right, and from the sounds of it, he has, trained his people and picked the people that he wants to do certain aspects of the game, probably the way he would going forward. So, it's kind of like, yes, it is the end of an era. He is leaving. Probably very good for him because he needs to, from what I understand of what he said, how he's putting it, he needs to take a step somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like personally and professionally, a lot has happened in this guy's life recently. So he needs to go somewhere and, process it all instead of being on a job. And, if that's what he has to do, good for him. Hope he does come back at some point in some gaming capacity because he made some good fighting game there at Tekken. But yeah, if he trained up his people well and he got the right people in place to take over, then it should be fine going forward.
Last bit before we head on over to Game of the Week, Splitgate is coming back. I don't have time to go through the whole saga, but Splitgate 1
get canceled
was like,
the next day after it was announced.
Right. Splitgate 1 was like a surprise breakout free multiplayer shooter harkening back to the arena shooters of old Unreal, stuff like that, with a weird portal mechanic that people seem to like. And then 1047 Studios got a shit ton of money from a bunch of people as that game was doing well. So what did they do? They shut down Splitgate and started working on Splitgate 2. Well, they canceled any future development on Splitgate. It didn't shut down immediately. Splitgate 2 came out to mixed reception. It didn't help that the game studios had its fair share of controversy, too, with the famous making first-person shooters great again hat worn at different events and all that stuff. And then comments that were, I'm apologizing but not apologizing, and a lot of that. And then so Splitgate 2 really didn't do well, so they pulled it out of launch back into beta, Well, now it's coming back as free-to-play Splitgate Arena Reloaded, and they're saying that it has the best of Splitgate 1 and Splitgate 2 with all the crap you didn't want in Splitgate 2. So factions have been removed, abilities and select equipment to refocus on classic arena combat, rebuilt progression, 5 new and 6 fully reworked maps, new primary weapons, new arena modes, reduced store prices, a simplified battle pass, etc., etc. Splitgate 2, whatever. I don't care. Like, I tracked this game for so long writing for MMO Bomb at the time, and I was very happy for them. And Splitgate 2, they totally lost all of that with me. I couldn't care less, Dom, about Arenas Reloaded, Reborn, Split.
The title is starting to become like Kingdom Hearts
Apocalypse.
2.7 HD Final Chapter Remix Prologue.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know what is happening anymore.
I mean, good luck. If you're looking forward to it, great. Enjoy it. I'm not going to yuck your yum, but this is just not for me, and I just don't trust the company anymore. So there's that. Games of the week. Let's do it. Games of the week is the way we end every episode of the Gaming Gumbo here. It's where all three of us give you a game. Could be something we're playing now, played in the past, haven't played at all, but think you should check out. Video game, board game, mobile, card game, whatever. And you let us know in the comments as you're chiming in on all the topics today who gave the best recommendation. Yad, we're going to go with you first.
I just finished Power Washer 2 Simulator. So it was a great play. I think you should play it as well.
Dom.
So last time I recommended Five Nights at Freddy's 2 because the movie was coming out. I did get a chance to go see it. I enjoyed the movie. I know it's not been doing well. Critics bombed it. It's been received well among fans. It's a children's slasher movie. What do you guys expect? You know, like it's not a Spielberg masterpiece. Like I don't know. I thought it was fine. So with that being said, I'm going to recommend 7 Days to Die because I've been playing that recently. It has nothing to do with Five Nights at Freddy's.
I'm going to go with a little Guild Wars 2 action. Kind of been messing around in there a little bit. I don't know how long I'll stay in there. That's definitely one of those MMOs that I like play like crazy for a week or two and then don't touch for a month type thing. But I'm enjoying some time in it as Legion Remix finishes up. I have one achievement left to get. Well, technically 2, but one of them you can't pop yet. The Infernals one. I have like 6 classes left, Dom. They're all leveled to 80. They all have their Order Hall campaigns done. I just haven't done the last few quests to get the mount for 6 of the 12 classes to trigger bringing order to the Isles.
I believe in you.
The one that's going to piss me off, I already know, is Paladin, because I have to do a portion of the Soramar quests to be able to open up the vendor. Because Blizz, you didn't make the full quest autocomplete. You only made one of the 2 items autocomplete. You fucking idiots.
It's not even just it's the you're talking about the ancient mana, right? That you have to.
Yeah, so you have to get the Masquerade, and then you have to raise the cap from 300 to 500 so you can go buy it. Yeah. But the other ones, I'm not too worried about. I can bang usually 2 or 3 out in just 1 3-hour sitting.
I recommend doing that one sooner than later, so you get frustrated first, and you don't like end on a sour note. You know.
But everything else is done. I'm 579 out of 581. I've also 999 power. So
nice.
So yeah, go some Guild Wars 2. That's gonna do it for us here today. Until next week, Yad, where can everybody find you?
Yada works on the socials except for Twitter because I don't do that.
Dom.
You can find me outside GameStop. Still accepting any trades.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there, MagicMan1. But more importantly, follow at RC Radio, and you'll know every time we're going live with a podcast, Final Fantasy trading card game, live locals, or any game we're streaming. Stay safe, and we'll see you on the server.